Welcome back. In our last video we talked about prefabs a little bit, but if you look closely right now, it feels like we are running on a treadmill just inside of a flat cardboard box. There's no depth to our world. So today we're going to fix that by creating a parallax background. Have you ever looked out a window or a moving car and the trees right next to the road whip by incredibly fast, but the mountains way off in the distance barely seem to move at all? That optical illusion is called the Parallax Effect, and we're going to use code and math to build that exact illusion into our game. Let's get started. So let's talk about sorting layers real quick. If we go to our sorting layer on the sprite render of our player, we click on Add Sorting Layers, and we have this option here. Sorting layers is how we are like sheets of paper. It tells Unity how to draw the assets, like in what order to draw them in. So let's go ahead and click one, and we're going to name it player. Now, if we take the player and we put it on the player one, he's going to draw it above all the things that are in this default layer. So if I press play real quick, you'll see that he still moves around in front of the foliage and stuff like that. So now, if we go back and add a new sorting layer, and let's name this one, we'll name it trees. And we'll put these trees on that layer. So we put the trees on there, and you're going to see now they jump in front of the ground and the platforms and everything. And that's because of the order that they're in. So if we look at the order, we have default on top. It's drawing the whatever's in that default layer first. So we need to actually, when we add those, we have to take into account how we want Unity to draw the assets. We typically want the player always on the bottom. We do need to add a few layers because we're going to be doing that parallax background. So let's go ahead and add a ground layer, sorting layer, and then we can put our tiles, the floor, on that one. And now you'll see it draws it back the way it should. We're going to need a foliage layer, so let's go ahead and add that. And if we apply that to our foliage, and you see that they start appearing the way they should and being drawn. We can also apply the same for our platform foliage, so we don't have to make one for that as well. So the next thing we're going to need is we're going to leave our spikes on the default layer. That'll be fine. We're going to need one probably for our enemy too, right there, so we can go ahead and come over here to add sorting layer and put our enemy in there. We're going to want it's really going to be up to you. I'm going to put the player so that he is drawn in front of the ground but behind the foliage. That way it looks like he's here. You don't see his feet like drawn over these little platform foliages. I am going to move this layer 6 up to the top because that's going to be our background layer. And so now let's if we look at it and we start testing things out, so let's move our spear enemy, wrong one, this one, and see that he's drawn behind the foliage. But if we move him down, why is he behind the tree? Did I put him in the wrong order? Might have put him in the wrong order. Oh, because I didn't put the spear enemy this spear enemy on there, that's why. So this goes back to what I was saying with the prefabs in the last video. You need to make sure that you update stuff like that. Let's go ahead and put him into the enemy layer. Now you can see him drawn in front of the trees. So there we go. Alright. Let's go to our patrol area. We'll override that. Same thing with our player. And alright, let's get our background going. Alright, so bringing in our backgrounds. If we look at our art folders, this crystal world set has a few backgrounds we can already use. So we're going to just take these and situate them the way we need. So let's go ahead and 16 pixels per unit, and then point for the filter mode, press apply. We can drag that out over here. Now, I know I said that we can put them all on one layer, but I think we're gonna need to put them on separate layers for when we get to, we'll see. I may not have to. I may have to change the sorted layers for them when we get to that point, but for right now, we're good. Let's go ahead and bring in, we gotta fix the rest of them. Let's go ahead and fix this one. 16, and then point. We're gonna bring that in. Notice how because they're all on the same level, they are actually being placed in the wrong order, and I'll show you how to fix that in a minute once we get this guy in. Alright, so for right now, we're going to select all three of these. We're going to put them all on the same background layer. Alright, and actually, now that I see it, we're going to have to move the spikes also. So let's put the spikes on, what layer? We'll put it on the ground layer, but we'll put it -2. We'll still allow it. It's on -2 because we were changing the order in the layer. We can leave it on that, that's fine. It's still drawn behind the ground here, so there's no issues with that. And I will return when the lawnmower guy is done in the backyard. Alright, now that all that mowing is done, let's finish this up. Alright, so we have our backgrounds on the three on the background layer. We need to change the order, so underneath the sorting layer, we're going to, under order in layer, we're going to take this background 01 and we're just going to put it on -3 so we know it draws behind everything. We're going to put the background 02 on -2, and then background 03, we need to kind of move it a little bit to even it up so it's lined up with everything. And then we'll leave that on 0. That's fine. Alright. Now, if we look at it in the game view, this is what it looks like. Pretty cool, huh? We may have to change the text or put it in a box because that's really bright, but that's just a design issue. That's nothing that's really gonna break the game. Alright, let's go ahead and create a new script. We're gonna name this Parallax Background. And let's open that up in Visual Studio. Alright, so why didn't it open? There we go. Alright. First we have our headers, right? So what we got here for our variables is the reference to the camera, and then we have a float for the parallax effect. We also are going to take into account the starting background position as well as the starting camera's position. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add in some quick storage variables. We're going to store the positions of the camera and the background, and then we're going to actually use something a little different. We're going to use a late update function. So late update runs after the cinema machine is going to run after the cinema Cinemachine moves the camera. They could have thought of a better name for that. That's easier to come out. But all right, so it's gonna first start by asking, by checking something. First thing it's gonna check is how far has the camera moved from its starting point, and we do that with this line of code here, where we take the camera position and from the X and subtract it from the starting position. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to calculate the fraction of that movement for our parallax layer, and we're going to store that into a distance variable, and then we're going to tell it to move the background using by creating a new transform position that's fed from a new vector 3 with the starting background's position plus this distance variable. So if this all goes according to plan, it should work swimmingly. So what we're going to need to do to make this work is I believe the main camera should work, but we may need to switch it up and put the Cinemachine camera in there. That's really going to kind of be a trial and error aspect of it. So first let's add the camera in there, and just for right now we're just going to put them all on, we'll say 0.8 for oh, I didn't select them all. Alright, let's try this again. Put the main camera into the slot, Parallax Effect 0.8, and we're just going to kind of go from there. Alright, so it looks alright so far. Let's move. So it's a little jittery, it's not keeping up, and it might be because of the camera issue. So let's go ahead and fix that by switching out the cameras with the Cinemachine. And let's see. So still doing it. It's not jittery though, it's smooth. So it may just be we need to increase this parallax. Ooh, nope, not 2, definitely not 21. We'll try, so it looks like 1, we might have to set it at 1. So let's go ahead and stop it and test it at 1. One seems to be where to put it at, so there you go. Put it at the parallax effect setting at 1, and then really gonna have to adjust that jump for the player so he can make those. So let's go with a jump force. That's weird. Let's try a jump force of. It's not letting me change that. Hold on. Let's go with a jump force of 20. You know why it's not letting me change it? Because we messed with the jump force in the code. That's why, when we did the Mario stuff. So let me come over here and alright, so we'll put our jump force as 20, and then we'll put this at 15. We'll save it. Let's see how that looks when he jumps. We'll have to stop it and start it again. I know this wasn't part of the video, but just want to make sure everything is good so we can do next week or the next video. Oh, 20 might be a little high, but it alright. 20 is a little high, so I'm gonna play around with that. But in the next video, before the next video, I want you guys to challenge yourselves to try to create your own level, because in the next video we're going to be doing some transitions going from level 1 to level 2. Keep learning, keep building. I'll see you in the next one.